Hi everyone, I wanted to share with you several projects that I've been working on this past week, and I had purchased this adorable 3D teacup die. It's designed by Brenda Walton. She has her own signature line with Sizzix, and she has always been my favorite with Cane Company. She always designed really pretty paper collections with Cane Company, and when she came out with her own line of dies, I definitely had to get this teacup. I have a thing for teacups, and I love the shape and everything, and the packaging itself was cute enough for me. And look how adorable this box is. I bought this from Blue Moon Scrapbooking, and I'll put their link down below, so check it out. Scott's awesome. And the die goes in here, and it fits perfectly inside this box. And then the back here, it talks a little bit about Brenda, and then it has the die cuts and then the measurements and all that fun stuff. So let me show you the projects that I made. Let me just lower my camera down just a little bit here. I made a teacup. I had a bunch of vintage musical note sheets that I picked up at my local antique store a while back, and I finally got to use it. It's pretty thin, the musical note sheet, so I adhered it to some lightweight chipboard, and I add some vintage trim on here. I add some of this trim that I got at Michael's. It reminds me of little shingles, but it's really cute. This is one of my handmade flowers that I did a video tutorial on, and I pretty much used all of the ones that I made except for two. I have two left. And then this tag comes with the die. So I hung this cute little spoon, and you can get these charms on eBay. I bought some on eBay, and they're just really adorable. I add some lace inside the cup, and then I just made this little lace roll using up my laces. And this is another one of my handmade flowers. So I use Velcro for my closure. And then I just add some embellishments inside. You could add pictures. You can add so many things inside these things. So this is a Prima adhesive chipboard piece. Some of the fairy rhyme paper collection. Some trim. This is one of the handmade tiles that I have a video on as well. I also have a video on how to make these little bird's nests using burlap trim, and little eggs, and some more lace. So you can make a cute little lace roll that you could put inside this little cup. So it goes in there, and then I just made a coordinating, I made a coordinating teapot, and this is using the Bigs Pro die. So I add some of this vintage trim on the bottom. I went to the sewing expo with my mom and girls, and this lady had a booth, and she was selling all her vintage trims for a really good price, and so I bought some. And this is one of them. This is another one of my handmade flowers, and some more of that Michael's trim on top. I just made a coordinating teapot to go with it. So that's that project, and this one is what I'm excited about. So let me just pull up my camera a little bit more. I created another teapot project, except that I layered 3 on top of each other, and I love it. This one is my favorite, and you can see here I just layered them on top of each other. I used a circle die to create the little plate, and I used the Prima Fairy Rhymes collection. So let me show you what I did here. So I used my Tim Holtz wordplay die and spelled out the word T, and this is using some corrugated board. I painted that with some acrylic paint and add my favorite frosted lace stickles. This is another one of the little teaspoons. I cut out this little fairy from the design paper. I dangled some pearls hanging on the side, and then around this side I add some Prima flowers. This is one of my handmade flowers. I used the Martha Stewart leaf punch. It's this one right here. This is my favorite. I use this punch a lot. And Then I add some tulle to the first teacup. The second teacup I add an Iron Roses flowers, which I add some frosted lace and some leaf trim underneath, and then I add some more lace on the second teacup, and then the last teacup I add some more of that Michael's trim, and I love it. It's just so adorable, and my daughter says it reminds her of Alice in Wonderland, the teacups. And I know Bev loves Alice in Wonderland, so Bev, this would be a cute project to make. You could do a whole Alice in Wonderland theme with this, and I love it. And so I made a little kit here to make one of these, and it's gonna have my flower here, and just pretty much what I use, except the paper's gonna vary a little bit, but it is for the same collection. And I included a 6x6 paper, so you can cut out the little fairy from that paper. And everything that I pretty much put on here is going to be in this kit. So if you like to win this kit, just leave a comment down below so you can make one of these. And I love it. So I did that with that same die, and I loved it so much that I used my other 3D teacup die and I made another one. So let me bring that one up this time. Let me just move this out of the way. So I made it with this 3D teacup die, and I did the same thing. This time I used, what collection is this? I think this is from the Sunset collection. And I used, again, my handmade flower, and I add some larger pearls on the side. I add a cute little vintage teaspoon charm down below. This is a little teapot that came from this stamp set. It's from the Lifetimes collection. I spelled out the word tea again, and I add one of the Prima dolls. Love her. She's my favorite. And she fit perfectly on here. I think the other ones will fit perfect, but they're a little bit larger. She was just a perfect size for this project, so I used her, and plus she's my favorite. I add again my favorite Martha Stewart butterflies. If you don't have this punch, you guys probably noticed in my videos I always mention this punch. It's this one right here. I mean, I use it all the time. I don't know, I can't create a project without adding that punch for some reason. I don't know why. So I use that, and I put another one, the tiny one up here. And then this is some more of that vintage trim. I used some lace on the second teacup to represent the doily. And then here is a little sash that I use as my tea bag. I just stuck some Iron Roses flowers in there. So you could put anything up here if you want, if you're going to use this as a display. So that is that. And I had to make another one, of course, using the Tea Time collection. So this one is the Tea Time collection. Same thing, put the pearls on the sides, let it dangle on the side, and then spelled out the word tea. This time I used this cute little Prima stamp. I got a Hobby Lobby. She's so cute. And then I put her little bunny up here. And then this is another handmade flower. It's made out of a chiffon material. And then here is some Iron Roses flowers. These are some rosette button centers that I put on my flowers. I got that at Hobby Lobby. And then some Carla sprays and Carla trim. And then I added lace up here, some vintage lace. And then on this little sash, I put a little tag album using the Chimholtz Tiny Tabs die. I cut it to 3 inches to fit the little sash. And I just spelled out tea time using my MFT stamp. And I just add some seam binding and an Iron Roses flower. I didn't put anything on the papers yet. And then I just add some trim and a S10 flower, and then it just goes inside the cup like that. And I love that too. And then Ashley wanted me to make her one, so I made her one, but she wanted with the Sweet Berry collection by King Company. It's an older collection, but she loved the sock monkey. She thought the sock monkey was so cute. So I put the sock monkey sitting on the word tea. And I did the same thing, you know, the pearls, and this is another handmade flower, on the same leaf punch, some trim. I used a paper doily on this one. She didn't want anything inside her cup, so I just left it empty. But it's really cute. I love it. I mean, look at the back. The back is just so adorable. Even if you just put the cups, even with just one flower, it's still so cute. But I couldn't help but decorate it a lot. So that is her teacups. So those are my teacup projects. And then I want to show you 2 more projects, or actually 3 more. So I took my photo wheel, because I had shared in a video one that I did with the film strip, but this time I added lace. So again, I used that musical note sheets, the fairy rhymes, girl that I fussy cut, another handmade flower, and then this is another handmade flower for my closure. And then I just add some embellishments on the lace here. So on the teepee roll, I just covered it with the musical notes and wrapped some lace around it. And then I just add some of my flowers, some trim. These are those wood chip pieces that I did a video on. Some embellishments, some more wood chip pieces and buttons. And I sewn a lot of these laces to the lace as well as using my hot glue gun. And these are really fun. I've made a canvas roll of my dog Princess a while back, and a fabric roll, and I thought it'd be really fun to do it with lace because I have so much lace. And my mom was so sweet and had given me a big bag of vintage laces that she got from her mother-in-law, and she gave it to me. And so thank you again, Mom. I had posted a picture on my Instagram and Facebook on it, and I just can't wait to play with those laces. So I made that one, and I made another one. This time I used this. I bought some of these laces from Joann. They had a bunch of dollar laces, so I kept this packaging, and you can see I already started painting it, and that's what I did with this one. So I just covered it with some design paper from the Lifetime collection, and I add this lace here. I buy it by the yard at my local Joann's store, and I use my circle die, and so I put it on top, and then another handmade flower, and then I just add some pearls, and then I use some of my scraps to add, you know, inside here. There's some more of my scraps, and then I just made another one, again with Velcro, and then I hand sewn some of these onto the lace as well to secure it more. And then this is some vintage paper that I picked up at my antique store, and I just wrapped it around the teepee roll, and then I used some vintage white paint, and then I just add my embellishments, and I cut out some images from the Lifetime collection. It's another handmade flower. I love this. It says live, love, laugh, and ponder. And here's some more. And then the sewing machine, had to add that. So there's several swaps that I want to host, but I'm thinking of hosting this one. I got to talk to Gina and see if I can host this one on her Ning site, because I really like this. So I'll message Gina later about hosting this on her site. So I made that one. And the last thing I wanted to share with you, I loved Basic Gray made some really cute hanger embellishments with their design paper. So I thought I'd make some with my Tim Holtz hanger paper clips, because I had a bunch of these, and used some canvas fabric that I bought by the yard at Hobby Lobby. So I cut it like in little strips like this, And then I just make my own banner, and I use my stamps, and I alcohol ink the paper clips with some ginger alcohol ink, and then add some charms. Here's just a few. And then this one I add a charm on the banner. This one I haven't really done too much except stamp on it. And you can see here I hot glued it on the back. And that's using these cute little Prima stamps. They have these cute little images on their stamp sets, you know, that I used, you know, on here. And then here's that little teacup. So you can make these cute little charms. So that was really fun to make. You could put this on any project, really. So those are my projects. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And again, I'm going to give away one of these little kits that I made to make the, where did I do with it? Oh, this little teacup here. So just leave a comment down below, and thanks for watching. Bye.